Broncos wide receiver Marvin Mims admitted something about his involvement in the Broncos offense against Seattle. I don't know if this is throwing a little bit of shade at Sean Payton, Joe Lombardi, Bo Nix, but the word he used, I would say, isn't exactly great. Welcome into your Denver Sports Daily for September 13th. Let's go.
Taking you through your morning headlines, it's Denver Sports Daily with Rachel V. Hill.
It's a Freaky Friday. It's September 13th, Friday the 13th. It's a Friday at the exact same time. So happy Friday, everybody. Like I said, Marvin Mims admitted something about his involvement in the Broncos offense against Seattle. And if you noticed anything, he was pretty much non-existent. He had one target from Bo Nix in the entire game. It was an incomplete pass. So no yards for Marvin Mims, but of course we saw him in the return game, which he had 2 good returns, 3 not so great returns. It feels like he really needs to pick a lane. But Marvin Mims spoke in the locker room during open locker room this week, and it was a little interesting the word that he used to describe the Broncos offense. So take a listen.
They say a closed mouth doesn't get fed, so how do you maintain your patience with the coaching staff of trying to get a larger role on offense?
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, you just kind of maintain patience, wait for things to open up, settle how they are. I mean, we got Bo being a rookie quarterback, with the first game plan going out, we didn't try to do too much, tried to keep it a little basic, but as the season goes along, we'll start opening up a little bit more and see what happens.
I don't know if basic is exactly a great word to use. I would agree with him that basic was what you were seeing out there from Bo Nix and Sean Payton, Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator as well. But maintaining patience sounds a little interesting to be coming from the wide receiver. We all remember the video last year of Marvin Mims talking about how Russell Wilson wouldn't get him the ball at times. So it makes me wonder, is this a year-to-year trend and we're just using an excuse? But again, it may be basic, but Broncos offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi also said just how bad they played, which in my personal opinion is actually a good sign. That means we should see improvement week after week. Take a listen.
Well, just how bad we played, how much better we can play. It's not not what we saw in practice every day, not what we saw in the preseason. All the way around. And then, some guys were pushing too hard. We slipped a few times. We had a couple drops. There's just, it's always the loser's lament, but there's just a bunch of stuff that we saw that we don't think is indicative of who we are, and you look at it, 2 or 3 drops, guys, I don't know if we had a yard of run after the catch, some runs that we probably didn't scheme up well enough that put our, off the coaches, we put ourselves in a bad position, some cuts that we could have made that we didn't, a couple fumbles, a couple interceptions, just, our defense gave us an opportunity to really put the game away, and we didn't. But when you look at how much better we should have played, could have easily won that game. So we just got to get back to playing the way we know we can.
The one thing I really like about what Joe Lombardi said is there was no excuses. It was, the defense gave us an opportunity and we didn't take it. And it was talking about how the coaches need to improve, how everybody needs to improve. And that should give you a little bit of a sigh of relief. They're not going out there and saying, overall, relatively good game just didn't go our way. No, they're saying this was actually a really bad game overall, and they'll look to improve. And that also includes people that had a good game. I told you earlier this week about Riley Moss, how he essentially been talking about what Tyler Lockett did. And Tyler Lockett looked really good. Don't get me wrong. 77 yards. He had 6 catches on Riley Moss, but Riley still had a relatively good game despite those 77 yards, but it's still haunting him a little bit. Take a listen to just how pissed off Riley Moss is about Tyler Lockett still.
Yeah, I think, some body control, I think, is part of it too. But looking back at the film, they get paid too sometimes. Lockett made some plays, and good for him. But at the same time, I got to be able to make that. And that final play of the game, that when they were in that mesh concept, I was in good position, and he just made a play. And sometimes you get the short end of the stick at the same time. It's like, I'm still pissed off about it, but that's why we play multiple games, so you can get better.
I love that he's still fired up about it, to be completely honest with you. I think that's great news. I think that's not settling at all. And that's the thing, and the trend we're seeing with everybody in that locker room is nobody was down on themselves. They were feeling it. They were feeling like they didn't play a good game. That's good. You're young and hungry. Sean Payton has talked about it's never a bad thing to be a young, hungry team. And it's really good to be seeing them getting out there. I'm excited. There was also a lot. Andrew Mason has wonderful videos of Joe Lombardi talking about Bo Nix and how he came into his first film session on Monday and essentially was like, listen, these are the things that I know I need to fix. He said, pointing out plays, he was like, yep, I already know what I need to do here, here, and here. Bo Nix is the future of this Denver Broncos franchise. And let me tell you, he is working every single day, just like so many of them are. Now, one thing is Devontae V remains to be the number one wide receiver for Bo Nix. And that seems to be very, very like everybody seems to know that essentially because there's a chemistry there that's building. But one of the main problems is that Devon Vele remains sidelined from practice on Thursday. There was also left tackle Garrett Bowles that people have been wondering what was going to happen. He was dealing with an ankle injury. He's back out there at practice, which is good news. Wide receiver Josh Reynolds and center Luke Wattenberg also returned to practice after working on the side field on Wednesday. So good news overall on that front, but Devon Vele still remains sidelines. I don't know if that means he will be ready to go on Sunday, but hopefully he is able to because Bo Nix needs that guy. He needs to have the guy that makes him feel comfortable. If Devon Vele cannot go, it really does open up the question, will Marvin Mims get some more catches? We will find out for sure. If you watch Thursday Night Football, well, the Bills pretty much ran away with it, let's be real. But the main storyline that's coming out of Thursday Night Football was Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, who's dealing with yet another concussion. He left Thursday night's game against the Bills after sustaining a concussion in the third quarter and the third diagnosis concussion of his NFL career. We remember he missed a bunch of weeks back in 2022. After dealing with back-to-back concussions. The injury occurred when Tagovailoa made forcible contact with his helmet in the forearm of Bills safety Damar Hamlin. Obviously, we remember what happened with Damar Hamlin. So unfortunately, that mixture right there just breaks your heart a little bit. Tagovailoa immediately went into a fencing response with his arms in an unnatural position. You saw people immediately go down on one knee. You saw coaches immediately run out on the field. Tagovailoa was ultimately able to walk off of the field and into the locker room under his own power, but was quickly ruled out for the rest of the game. Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel said Tagovailoa was in good spirits and explained right now it's more about getting the proper procedural evaluation today and taking it one day at a time. Now, there was also news coming out this morning from Mike McDaniel essentially going on to say, I'm not worried about the timeline. The timelines are the type of things that put pressure on people to return, and that's not what he needs. There was also a quote which just broke my heart a little bit is Mike McDaniel told Tua essentially like, you're the starting quarterback of your family, and that just like crushes my soul. Tua is so much fun to watch, and yes, he didn't have a good game yesterday, but to deal with another concussion, you hope that he's going to be all right. So we are passing along our thoughts to him for sure, for hopefully a very healthy recovery. Now, Mark Schler's show, Breakfast Ball, had an interesting take on what Miami should now do at quarterback. Mike McDaniel came out and said that, yes, they will keep Skylar Thompson as well as their quarterback, but they will look to also find another veteran while they wait for Tua to return. Take a listen to this interesting take.
Weekend watch. I want everybody to pay close attention to the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend. Yeah. Obviously, Justin Fields is going to get the second consecutive start. They're playing against what I think is a bad football team in the Denver Broncos, so reasonable to think that the Steelers have a good opportunity to be 2-0. But I want you to watch this game for another reason. If Justin Fields plays, I guess, as well as he played last week, meaning no turnovers, no sacks, and leads them to victory no matter how ugly that victory might look, it makes Russell Wilson expendable. And because of what happened last night, if I'm the Miami Dolphins, I would pick up the phone and call the Pittsburgh Steelers up and say, it looks like you found your starting quarterback in a much younger Justin Fields. Russell's only $1 million against their cap because Denver's still paying off that contract. I would pick up the phone and call Pittsburgh and see if a deal could be made for Russell Wilson to go to Miami and become the starting quarterback of the Dolphins. Remember, they cut Mike White this offseason. Not that he was great, but at least he had some starts under his belt.
So you have Russell Wilson as being better than Skylar Thompson?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Thank you for helping me with the backup there. Because right now, Miami still thinks we're a playoff team. They're 1-1. Maybe they are. But not with Skylar Thompson, they're not. So watch that Pittsburgh game to see if someone picks up the phone to try to get Russell Wilson, specifically the Miami Dolphins.
So I went to look because I was like, okay, this seems a little crazy. But I said, you know what? I will think about the idea. What other top free agent quarterbacks are available for Miami to look at, knowing that they want to go? Let me just read you these names real quick. You have a Ryan Tannehill. Is Russell Wilson better than Ryan Tannehill? Questionable, but that's because of what we saw here in the Mile High City. Is Russell Wilson better than a Trevor Siemian? Probably. What about a Blaine Gabbert? Probably. What about Brian Hoyer? Probably. Maybe it's not so crazy that the Miami Dolphins go after Russell Wilson. You don't have to pay him hardly anything because the Broncos are paying him everything. The Steelers are just having to pay him the veteran minimum. It's not overall, honestly, a really bad idea. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of like, I know one person in particular who would be a little disappointed, and that would be James Merrillat because he did, in fact, buy a Steelers Wilson jersey. But overall, I actually don't think it's too bad of an idea for Miami to pick up the phone and just say, hey, looks like you found your guy in Justin Fields. So maybe, just maybe, you'll ship Russell Wilson out to us. Who knows? We will find out. If you're a fantasy owner, then obviously you are paying very, very close attention to this name right here, Christian McCaffrey. He missed the San Francisco 49ers 2024 season opener due to a calf and Achilles injury. Well, the 49ers consider McCaffrey day to day, but he in fact told reporters, my mentality is I'm playing this week. That's where I'm at. That's how I am every week. I'm not lying. I think as soon as a player says, maybe I'll play, maybe I won't, that's not a good mentality to go into the week with when you're kind of on the fence. So for me, I'm ready to go. Now, yeah, Christian sounds like he's ready to go, but the NFL media believe that claims essentially that he will not be playing against the Minnesota Vikings in week 2. So you have him on your fantasy league. I know you probably took him first overall and you are like screaming, why us? But also if you're going up against a Christian McCaffrey team, you're probably like, that sounds really, really good. So Christian McCaffrey, one name to just keep a look on, but most likely would not be playing this Sunday against the Vikings. We'll head on up to Boulder because usually we're talking about Coach Prime and all the stuff that's going on up there. But this time, we're talking about a man that got arrested because Boulder police arrested a man suspected of fleeing the scene of a hit and run at Foothills Parkway and Arapahoe Avenue, putting the person into custody at Folsom Field, where he drove his truck onto the playing surface on Thursday. Police say they arrested Carl E. Haglund, 48 of Massachusetts, on 11 separate charges, including trespassing, criminal mischiefs, criminal attempt, vehicular assault. I can't say it, you guys, and more. Boulder police say that they attempted to stop the driver, but he eluded officers. And according to the news release from the police, the driver then was located near CU Boulder's campus, where CU Boulder police officers tried to stop him on Stadium Drive. Police say then he escaped from those officers for a short time, rammed a gate where he drove onto Folsom Field. Police say that witnesses reported that a man driving a blue pickup truck was involved in at least 2 hit-and-run crashes, as well as striking several trees and signs before driving away. During the incident, the witnesses tried to stop the driver before leaving, but one person was almost struck by the pickup truck. If you see the pictures essentially that are going around on social media too, it's a little interesting because he's getting out of his truck clearly in Folsom Field, and he has a shirt on. And then in the next picture, he all of a sudden has his shirt off. So we will keep you guys updated. Denversports.com, Jake Shapiro has done a great job of articles and updating all of this to see, is the field going to be okay and what's the latest? So definitely make sure you check this out. Colorado Avalanche fans, we do have some news for you. Nathan MacKinnon said on Tuesday that teammate Arturi Lekkonen's not starting the season in the Avalanche lineup. Now you might be like, well, wait, why not? Well, some people reached out to the Av spokesperson for an official update, and that is that Lekkonen had off-season shoulder surgery, and he won't be a full participant when training camp opens next week. At this point, there is no firm timeline for a return from him. So yes, while Nathan MacKinnon is saying he's not going to start in the lineup, there's no actual, PR person saying that that can't be a possibility, just that he won't be a full participant in training camp when that starts next week. So just a little updates for you guys. Let's see. It is a Friday. I'm so happy. Never a dull moment. You are so correct. There is never a dull moment up there in Boulder. That is for sure. You guys, let me know in the comments right now, please and thank you, who's going to win the Rocky Mountain Showdown. Are you going CU or CSU? Make sure we'll do that. We'll get to all of those comments down at the end, but I want to know your personal opinion. Let's see. We need to keep quarterback Justin Fields in the pocket and not let him beat us with his arms, let him beat us with his arms and not his legs. He can move. He's speedy quick too. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the game plan is going to be when it comes to stopping Justin Fields. We're going to have to see some pretty big games from Jonathan Cooper, Baron Browning, DJ Jones would be great. They're going to have to go over him for sure. Hope to see Broncos running game, which is exactly what Knicks needs, with some tight ends to keep the change moving. We saw pretty much no tight ends against the Seahawks, so I totally agree. Would love to see Greg Dulcich get involved a little bit more. And then, yes, the Broncos have to figure out their running game. You cannot have another game that looked like last Sunday either. So big things to definitely have to do. We need receivers. Yeah, we need receivers to step up. You're making some good money. Let's do that. Are you going to do your picks today? I will do my picks for the Rocky Mountain Showdown and for the return of what was supposed to be Russell Wilson, but it's not Russell Wilson. So yeah, I'll give you my Broncos picks. I also did my picks yesterday for all of the NFL games, so you can go back and watch that episode. We had some technical issues. Don't know what exactly happened, but the show went live at 6:00 last night, so definitely make sure you check out that episode. Good morning. It is Friday. You guys, I'm so excited for the weekend. It's going to be so many good games of football. If you did not hear, I'm going to be on the sidelines for the Rocky Mountain Showdown, which will be really fun. So you can listen to that game on the local radio network. So definitely make sure you tune into it. Good morning, Rachel. Finally Friday and ready for a weekend of football, Rocky Mountain Showdown and Mile High for sure. Is anybody going to the game on Sunday or going to the Rocky Mountain Showdown? Please let me know. Okay. CU keeps quiet and beats CSU. RJ, I don't like that answer, but you never know. I thought last year that CSU, when it went into OT, I was like, there's a huge possibility that he's able to get the victory. Unfortunately, didn't happen, but I'm hoping this is the year for the Rams. I'm really, really hoping that that can be true. And I think Bo will be willing to break out and run a little bit. Not sure what Sean will think about that. We saw him run a lot last week. So hopefully he's able to stay a little bit more calm, relying on his offensive line, even if the pocket collapses just a little bit more, allow himself just a few extra seconds. It really does make all the difference. And hopefully we get a Broncos win. I'll give you my picks. Don't be mad at me. I am taking CSU to actually win on Saturday, which I'm pumped about. I think that this is going to finally be the year. I don't like, again, that we saw 2 CSU players who did go out and talk to the media about wanting to, murder CSU and all of that kind of stuff. That's a little disappointing, but I get the trash talk. I know it happens all the time. And I know a lot of times reporters, not saying my great friend Romy Bean did that, but a lot of the times you kind of get them to like, give me a little something, something. So I am taking CSU, and then I'm taking the Steelers to beat the Broncos on Sunday. So don't be mad at me for that pick, but I think that the Bo Nix era is going to start off a little bit slower than everyone's kind of hoping. And I don't know if the run game is going to actually be able to get rolling with how tough the Steelers defense is. So I'm taking 1-1. If you're a CSU person, then you're going to be thrilled with me. Go Rams. And if you are a Broncos fan, then I'm sorry, but that's going to be my pick for this weekend. But you guys, I appreciate you so much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy all of the football. We'll be back here on Monday, giving you guys everything you need to know in the headlines. Thank you so much, and we will see you guys then. Bye.